4 months ago, I dropped a video named Sanji vs. King is completely one-sided, and in it, I said Sanji would absolutely violate King the Wildfire. Of course, like every single power scaling video I make, there was disagreement because some people believe Sanji just wasn't him enough to get through King's abilities or even find them out. Well, in today's video, let's talk about the potential reality of this not being the case. What's up guys, Restless Gambler here, and in today's video, I want to talk about the latest chapter of One Piece, chapter 1089. In it, we finally see the Straw Hats again, but surprisingly, it comes with some implications that can impact the power scaling community's perceptions on different matchups. Before we get into this video, YouTube told me that only 18.4% of the audience that tuned into my videos are subscribed. If you are tuning into my videos and enjoying them, go ahead and subscribe. It's a win-win for both of us. Now, this chapter was nice. We didn't really get to see how things played out in Egghead Island, but we do get to see the aftermath of things. With it being done off screen, however, there is some contention towards what actually happened while we were away. So let's go over them. The first possibility, and one that I personally want to be true, is that Sanji defeated S-Shark, Zoro defeated S-Hawk with Kaku, Luffy defeated S-Bear with Lucci, and the others found out a way to beat S-Snake. The second possibility that might have occurred during our time looking away was that still Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro defeated their Seraphim, but then one of them pulled up on S-Snake to make her undo the petrification, since we already know that petrification can't be undone unless the user allows it. The third possibility would be that once again Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro defeat their Seraphim, but this time Robin, Chopper, and Atlas find Stella in York and they gang up on her, making her stop her madness. And the fourth, that's very likely but I don't want to be true, is that Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro don't even get to defeat their Seraphim, and York was forced to stop their rampage because Atlas, Robin, and Chopper intervened. But we'll expand on those in a second. Let's start with the first possibility. Now, this one, just like the others except for the last one, is just agenda based. If Sanji beat his Seraphim by himself, you wouldn't hear the end of it from me. When I made Sanji vs. King, I implied that Sanji could easily find out his weakness. But in reality, what I said was that King would just expose his weakness because of Sanji's overwhelming speed. So now there's two possibilities here. Either Sanji figured out S-Shark's weakness, which upscales his battle IQ, and the fact that he defeated him after that means that he can damage the Lunarian. Or Sanji didn't even bother figuring out the weakness because S-Shark was forced to expose it due to Sanji's overwhelming speed. Either way, if Sanji did end up defeating S-Shark, it's a win for me and a loss for the people who genuinely think King can beat Sanji. Why I say this? Well, it's because unironically, the Seraphim are literally smarter than that dumbass named King. The entire time we saw the Seraphim, they didn't release their flames, and that's because they knew that they would be at a disadvantage if they did, so they didn't have a reason to. King, on the other hand, would literally turn his flames off for zero reason, even though he matched Zoro in speed with his flames on. King is a dumbass, and that's one of the reasons Sanji would literally violate him. But speaking of violation, look at Zoro banged up after 1v2ing a Seraphim, bro. What has bro been through? My goat Sanji literally got punched in the face with Duraneg and he's cooling. And I'm supposed to believe King still defeats him? Oh, get him out of here! Also, in this hypothetical, there was some Frankie hype. In chapter 1078, he was the only one in the group fighting S-Snake who had any chance of doing anything because he was half petrified. There is a possibility that Frankie has some way to exit his body since he's full robot. This will be cool and a nice way to solidify Frankie as one of the top 5 on the Straw Hats behind the fish. Wait a minute. What the hell has the fish been doing? In chapter 1078, he's with Stussy since Sanji went on to save Nami, but what the hell have they been doing? Low-key, he might have helped with the S-Snake problem or met up with Robin and Chopper at the Stella problem, but I'm hoping it's the latter because we need some Frankie gas. The second possibility was more or less the same, except there isn't Frankie gas because Frankie was reduced to uselessness, so maybe someone else came in to save him. I mean, making S-Snake release them wouldn't be too hard, especially if Frankie tells the person who came to save them about her weakness to the bubbles. Zoro could have easily done this and that would add to the Zoro gas, so hey, that's a good possibility. I still do think, however, that Robin, Chopper, and Atlas are the nail in the coffin to subdue York. After all, she's not a fighter. The third and fourth possibility are basically the same, it really just depends on how the time matches up. In the third possibility, it's more of the matter of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji finishing their seraphims earlier than when York gets caught up by Robin and Chopper. But the fourth possibility is if York gets caught up before Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji can finish their seraphims off. These two sound the most likely because they actually give Robin and Chopper an important role. In the third possibility, if they subdue York, they can make her reverse the damage, like for example S-Snake, making her reverse the petrification, and same goes for the fourth possibility. But even more, they can stop the Seraphim before they do something bad, which doesn't really help my agenda, so Oda can f*** off with that. But moving aside from that, we have some more implications from this chapter. About 5 days ago, I made a video about Kizaru and his role in this arc. Go check it out if you haven't. But in it, I said either he'll fight Zoro and Sanji at the same time if Jay Garcia himself is a fighter, or he will fight Luffy. Well, maybe there won't be a dragged out fight between him and Luffy because in the last spread, we get Luffy literally saying he's going to use York as a shield to escape. For right now at least, he has no reason to fight Kizaru. Now if this means there will be an actual fight between them or not is ambiguous, but what we can say is that it wouldn't do anything for us. I say this because, of course, like always, Oda has once again handicapped an admiral. In the middle of the chapter, Kizaru destroys one of the robot sea beasts with a beam, and Sentomaru gets mad at him. Kizaru tells him that this situation isn't easy, so he asks him just to pull up and surrender. Sentomaru obviously declines and tells him that he can't believe they're actually trying to kill the guy who made pacifist the lasers off of him. Kizaru replies telling him that he's just doing his job, he can't just forgive Vegapunk for his research of the voice century. Then he says something of interest for the discussion at hand. Anyway, this fight isn't exactly in our best interest. Everything we break is a net loss for us. Bruh. So Kizaru was once again sent on a mission and can't go crazy because he'd be destroying stuff, which is a net loss for the government. So not only will Kizaru fight anyone handicapped because he doesn't want to destroy the important stuff on the island, but even if he gets defeated, depending on the faction of course, it wouldn't even be fair to hold it against him. I already said in that video that I didn't want to see bro holding back in any way. But now he's going to have to. And of course, he's gonna have to pull out the sword again. Because obviously he can't just fly into the air and shoot beams. He's reduced to this bullshit again. Also, just look at this scene, bruh. He's obviously high. He's been an admiral for how long and he's still trying to talk into a black den and Mushi. Like, he smoked a fat blunt before this. But before we actually move away from the Kizaru talk, we actually found out a little bit of lore from the man himself. He's had the light fruit since Vegapunk's old design. Now, we don't know when that could have been because Vegapunk has had that head for a long time. But Kizaru and Sentomaru look rather young in this, so it's safe to assume that Kizaru has had that fruit for years, bro. Like, not even years, decades. Actually though, regarding Jay Garcia, what the hell is this guy about to do? He's in his own room right now eating, but he's telling his escorts not to let anyone know he's there. Why might this be? I feel like this is a way for Oda to make it so that his introduction to the battle is something that'll shift its tides. Like for instance, if everything is succeeding and the Straw Hats are using the Seraphim against the Marines, then all of a sudden they once again start attacking the Straw Hats. They're all confused, wondering what the hell is going on. But then they see this brolic old man pulling up and telling them it's the end of the road. In terms of the battle, however, I still have zero idea whether if he's gonna fight himself or not. But what I do know is that his position in the Seraphim hierarchy is definitely going to mean something within this battle. I also think that the fact that he's a warrior god can really mean something. In chapter 1085, after Imu stabs Cobra, the 5 elders tank the fire fist from Sabo, then turn into different monsters. I don't think Oda would just reveal one of the monsters in this arc because it's definitely too early. But if Jay Garcia is meant to come out of the shadows and put up a fight, we're in for a great one. For right now, however, we just gotta enjoy this potential Sanji W against Lunarian DNA. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, which I know since you made it this far, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's more content like this coming soon. Anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next one.